What's going on, guys? Welcome back again. Today we're doing TryHackMe. So we're going to carry over with intro to cybersecurity track. So far, so forth. We've finished intro to cybersecurity. Of course, I'm leaving careers in cyber till the very end. Intro to offensive security, and today we're talking about defensive security. Now, under defensive security, two categories falls. The first one is intro to digital forensics, and the other one is security operations. So under defensive security, you can be a forensic analyst or you can be a SOC analyst. Today we're talking about an intro to digital forensics for those who are yet new or want to start in this field. So if you click on that room, you see it's not that challenging room. It's very easy room, right? You just have to go through the readings and then answer two questions. But we're going to dissect these tasks, okay, and lay down the concepts. Now, if you want to dig deeper into digital forensics, you can go back in my YouTube channel and find various videos on how to conduct digital forensics or how to forensically analyze disks, memory, so far, so forth. Today's video is kind of intro, so we're going back in time and introduce digital forensics. So if you're concerned on finishing the room and you know what's digital forensics, you know the process, you can just skip to task 3 where the practical example of digital forensics is laid down. Now the first two tasks are concerned with laying down the fundamentals of digital forensics. So basically, in a nutshell, the first task here, intro to digital forensic, tells you what's that field and how it's used in the arena of forensics. So basically, in general, there's a field called forensic science. So basically, when you go to a crime scene, you collect evidence and then you send the evidence to the lab. The evidence is analyzed using forensic by forensic experts, right? So analyze the evidence, extracts DNA, and so far and so forth. Now the same applies to digital forensics. So, but with different players. So at the crime scene, as you can see here, guys. If the crime scene contains digital evidence or digital assets can be like, as you can see in the figure, they are numbered. We have the laptop, we have the disk, and we have don't know what that is. Also, we have some cords, tablets, USBs, anything that can be considered as digital. Smartphones, these are all can be considered as digital assets and can be a place from which you extract digital evidence. Okay. Now, laptops and other digital devices cannot be considered as evidence. Rather, they are digital assets from which we extract digital evidence. That process is called digital forensics. Okay. Much like when you collect non-digital evidence, such as blood samples, hair, all of these things can be found in a crime scene. So you collect them, these are called assets. So you collect them and extract evidence. Now basically hair, DNA samples, blood, these are direct evidence on the crime scene. But that evidence doesn't point to anyone until it's analyzed. Now same applies in digital forensics here. We collect digital assets and we extract evidence to analyze to whom that belongs. Same here, as you can see, it contains cameras, SSDs, USB flash drives, computers, smartphones, tablets. All of these are digital assets. We collect them, or they are collected by the forensic experts or digital forensic experts. Of course, after obtaining the legal authorization to approach these assets. Now here in this room, they have divided the investigations that are carried to collect evidence in two categories: public sector, conducted by the government, and private sector, conducted either by the company that has witnessed or that has experienced a corporate violation. For example, if an employee stolen some sensitive information like papers, files, the company will conduct an investigation and they will hire an in-house forensic or digital forensic expert, or they will hire an agency. They will outsource the job. That's why we call this private sector. Consider the desk in the photo above. In addition to smartphone, camera, and SD cards, what would be interesting if for digital forensics? So you have the smartphone, camera, SD card, and the laptop. Now, sticky notes, they are not digital assets, but it doesn't harm to collect them as well. But they will not be collected as in the chain of custody of digital forensic or digital evidence. They'll be collected by other digital forensic experts. But sticky notes may contain sensitive information that would point to someone, notes, passwords, so on and so forth. The digital forensic process, how it works. So, briefly guys, as you can see here, we have this photo here that contains these digital assets. So, you found this in a crime scene, okay? And now you want to obtain the first step is obtaining the legal authorization to be in the crime scene. So you are the digital forensic expert, or you have a team. You guys came to the crime scene and you found these digital assets. So your job is first to obtain the legal authorization. The next step is you will collect, or you will fill out a form. The form will contain what you have found. So in this form, you will say, okay, I found a laptop and I found the USB disk, flash disk. I also found a tablet. I found the SD cards. I found. So you will collect all of these and you will write them in a form. This form is called the chain of custody. The chain of custody is the form that contains the items you have found in the crime scene, the digital items in 2 parentheses. I will also contain who are the authorized people to handle the digital assets or the evidence. Who are they? So if you are in the digital forensic team, you will write down you as the leader, and you will also write down the names of the people who work in your team and later will handle these digital assets. You may also write down the name of the lawyer, the corporate lawyer, or the lawyer who is handling the case. The lawyer will need access to some of the digital evidence later. So you will write down the lawyer name or the legal team name. So basically, essentially, the chain of custody contains two teams. The first team is the digital forensic team, who will handle the evidence, handle and analyze, and the second team will be the legal team. Essentially, all the time you will have the names of these, the name of the members of these two teams in your chain of custody form. So you have obtained the legal authorization and you have established the chain of custody. Now the third step is to place all of these, as you can see, in a container. So in movies, you will see in movies that they will put all of the evidence like DNA samples, hair, blood sample, items. They will put that in a nylon container and seal it. The same way you will do that for the digital evidence. You will collect them in a secure container. And the last thing you will do, you will transport them, all the evidence, into the digital forensic lab. So here is the collection process. We have collected the evidence. And the next step is to analyze the evidence. So basically, after the forensic lab, you will extract the evidence from the container, and you will not touch, or you will not analyze the evidence on the original evidence. You will basically make a copy. For example, let's take a look here at the USB flash drive. So what you will do, you will access first the USB flash drive. You will take a hash, okay, using like a device SHA-256. Use SHA-256 to create a hash of the contents of the USB flash disk, okay, and then you will make a copy of this flash disk. Make a copy not of the flash disk itself, of course, the contents of the flash disk. You will image it, clone it, so on and so forth, and transfer the clone or the image into some other media. Then you will again calculate the hash, and you will compare the hash of the copy to the hash of the original contents. Make sure they are the same. That's how we maintain the integrity of the evidence. So the same methodology applies to all other digital evidence. You will make a copy of the contents of the SSD, the camera. You will also clone you will make a clone of the operating system found in the laptop. You will make also clone of the contents of the tablet, so on and so forth. Again, with the smartphone, basically you will clone everything, and then you will work and analyze the copy. So here, as you can see, create a forensic copy of the evidence. There are several tools to create the copy. As you can see, FTK Disk Imager, we have Celebrite Forensics. There are several other tools used in the forensic process. I have listed them here in my notes file called, let's see here, it is under computer forensic. We have disk forensic, we have Cape forensics. Cape basically is an artifact extractor. You can use also Cape to make a clone of the digital evidences and also analyze them. And here in the, let's see here, the blue team notes, you will find all what you need to methodically analyze the evidences. So after you have brought the evidence to the lab, created a copy of the digital assets, you will then return the digital evidence to the secure container. So again, you will not work on the original form of the data or the evidence. You will work on the copies you have just created with the forensic tools, and then you will start the analysis. You will start then analyzing and extracting the evidence. This is the methodology. So the question here is, it's essential to keep track of who is handling digital assets or the evidence at any point in time to ensure that evidence is admissible in the court of law. What's the name of the documentation that would help establish that? The chain of custody. You would hear, or you must have heard the phrase that says someone broke the chain of custody. What does that mean? So I broke the chain of custody. Someone broke the chain of custody. What does that mean? It means someone who is not authorized to access the digital evidence has obtained some form or has accessed illegally or unauthorized or in an unauthorized manner. They have obtained access to digital evidence. That person, if his name or her name or if their name is not listed in the chain of custody, we say that the chain of custody is broken and you have to start all over, because now the chain of custody or the evidence is not admissible in the court of law. The court of law considers that if someone who is not authorized has got access to digital evidence, there is a high probability that the evidence has been tampered or might have been tampered. Now, sometimes the person doesn't alter the evidence. Some people, some unauthorized persons, they get access to the digital evidence and just, take a look, right? They don't observe. Now, despite that the evidence has not been altered in that case, but still the court of law will assume that evidence has been tampered and will ask you to start all over, collect evidence from scratch, make a new copies, and establish your case one more time. So be careful when it comes to chain of custody. Make sure it's intact, pristine. No one gets access to that unless it is authorized. Let's now jump to the practical example of digital forensics. In that practical example, we are analyzing files. So basically, let's go here. This is the case. Our cat, Gado, has been kidnapped. The kidnapper has sent us a document with the requests in MS Word document format. So a cat has been kidnapped. Okay, there is no crime scene here. There's a cat that has been kidnapped. Now the kidnapper, somehow they have sent you a Word document by email. They have dropped it they have stored the document in a USB flash drive and dropped it in your apartment, by your apartment door, so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter how they sent you the document. It is just the document. It's the only source of evidence you have. So MS Word document format. Inside the MS Word document format, there is the images, of the cats, or the images of the requirements. So we have converted the document to PDF format and extracted the image from MS Word file for your convenience. So basically, in a nutshell, the evidence here is a PDF Word document, a PDF file, an image, and a Word document. So basically here the forensic team is asking you to extract evidence from the PDF and the image. So when we talk about extracting evidence from single files or regular files such as image files or PDF file or document files, it means we aim to extract metadata. Now the metadata are information that gets stored after you create the file, such as the file creation date, the last modification date, the author, the operating system. When it comes to images, sometimes you see information about the camera model, the time it was taken, the GPS coordinates, of course depending on the model of the smartphone. Newer models of smartphones don't store the GPS coordinates, so it varies depending on the model of the smartphone. Let's analyze the evidence. So let's first make a zoom in and start. So clear. So that's the evidence you have: a ransom letter, PDF, and image. So in this case, we require to extract the metadata. So to extract metadata from a PDF file, we would use a tool called PDF info, and then ransom, the file name. As you can see, we extracted the metadata. This includes the title of the document, pay now. The subject, we have Katu. The author, this is the person who created the document. Now the author name might not reflect the real name, right? It depends on several other factors: the username of the operating system on which the document has been created, the subscription. If the person has Adobe subscription or PDF subscription, you may see their subscription name listed here. So the nutshell or the brief is, this may not reflect the real name. So you might say, oh, I obtained the real name. No, it might not reflect. Sometimes it might reflect, but you don't need to rely on this as a piece of evidence that gives you the real name of the person. The creator, how this was originally created. As you can see, this is the PDF file, but the original way, or originally it has been created using Microsoft Word 2016. Creation date, modification date. Now, timestamps are of absolute importance when it comes to digital forensics, because even forensic science, because the coordination of time gives you great hints in catching the person who did the crime. Tagged, suspects, JavaScript, encrypted, and other technical information. So the question here is, using PDF info, find out the author of the attached PDF file. We just did. This is the author of the PDF file. Now, next we have the image file. Now, analyzing the metadata of the images means extracting the EXIF data. EXIF data represents the metadata of the image file. Now, image files, if the image has been created using the camera, it will include definitely the camera information, the model, and other technical information such as the focal length and other information. It may include the GPS coordinates depending on the model of the smartphone. So EXIF, tool, letter, image. We have plethora or trove of information here. Let's start. Go up and start. So what matters to digital forensics here? Let's see. File name, directory, file size. Now, time again. Now the time in today's room may not be relevant, but it is very relevant in general. So always take a note of the creation time, modification time of any evidence you have. The MIMI type, the version. Now here we have the camera information. It is Canon camera. This is the camera model, and these are technical information: orientation, resolution, software. These are also important information, okay, because later on the forensic team, non-digital forensic team, may have obtained or may have arrived to a point where they got access to a camera. Now if they compared the model information of the camera they have obtained physically to the digital evidence you got. If you got a match, you are one step closer to identifying the murderer or the person who did the crime. So this is also a great piece of information. Let's scroll down. Time again. And this is kind of flag, user comment. This is the flag for this task. Scrolling down, all of these technical information are important because if they match, again, if they match the technical information of a physical evidence you have obtained previously, you are one step closer again to identifying the person who took the image. Scrolling down, let's see here. Technical information are also important. What's that? Let's see. Derived from document ID, history parameters, look copyright. So as you can see, Adobe Systems. That means that this photo has been stored previously on a PDF file, or has been extracted from a PDF file, and that's true because this image has been extracted from a PDF file. Okay, and we have the GPS coordinates, as you can see. I think we skipped it. No, here it is, the GPS coordinates. Now, GPS position may or may not be attached to the EXIF data. Again, depending on the model and the recency of that model of your smartphone. Newer models may not attach the GPS position to obtain or to maintain privacy of the owner of the smartphone. But some models, they do attach the GPS position. The GPS position indicates where this photo or where was the photo taken. It's a great piece of evidence because it gives you a physical location. So basically here in the question, using EXIF tool or any similar tool, try to find where the kidnappers took the image they attached to their document. Now this question relies on you finding the GPS coordinates. So what you will do, you will take this, go to Google Maps. What you're going to do, you're going to first get yourself familiar with the format of the GPS coordinates. As you can see, if we open Google support, we can see that there are three formats. Decimal degrees, basically longitude and latitude, or degrees, minutes and seconds with N and E, or we have degrees and decimal minutes with no N and E. So you have to use one of these formats to find a location. So the ones we found here, they are very close to the second format, this one. Why? Because they contain degrees. What we're going to do, we're going to replace the degrees with their symbol. This is it, as you can see. That's what I did. So if we substitute the degree with its symbol here and place that in the appropriate positions and enter, we will get a real physical location. And it points to a street in London called Milk Street. That's the answer for the question. What's the model name of the camera used to take this photo? We've already covered this. Let's scroll up. It's at the very first. Camera model name. It's Canon EOS R6. So guys, that was it. And if you are asking me how to get access to these notes, you just have to subscribe to the channel membership and I will be all yours. That was it, and I will see you in the next video.